Over the years, these ruins have captured, moved and perplexed people. The sheer simplicity of these relics has left many wondering as to how such utter simplicity could be so beautiful. Aihole, Badami, Pattadkal. These ruins that you see were once the buzzing capital cities of the Chalukyan Empire, the pride of the Chalukyan kings. Today, after more than 1200 years, they lie in desolation. Even then, these relics offer us a window to the life, the endeavors of the Chalukyan people. This is Aihole, situated in Karnataka. This was the first capital of the Chalukyan kings. Most of the temples here are very Spartan. They cater only to the basic needs of worship. You can see that these temples bear a striking resemblance to the Buddhist shrines. The reason being, the artists who built these temples were well versed only in Buddhist architecture. They only had a vague idea of how a Hindu temple should be built. For example, take the Durga temple. This is the most elaborate temple at Aihole. The sculptures here are among the finest of the early Chalukyan series. Not surprisingly, the entire temple is planned like the Buddhist Chaitya Hall. In spite of the reliefs of deities like Shiva, Parvati and Vishnu, the temple has an obvious Buddhist look about it. The Chalukyan priests, when they saw the temple, added this shikhar to make it look more like a Hindu temple than a Chaitya Vihara. Aihole remained the capital of the Chalukyan kings till King Mangalesha shifted it to Vitapi or Vatapi, which is now the modern Badami in Karnataka. The temple of Badami retains the basic structure of the temples at Aihole. But unlike Aihole, this temple has a unique pyramidal tower called the Viman that adorns its apex. This early form of the Viman was a new concept that had taken form under the hands of the unskilled stonemason. And it was this very idea that was refined and adapted to build the beautiful Vimans and tall Gopurams of the later South Indian temples. The other temples here are mostly excavated out of caves. What is exceptional is the carvings of the deep red sandstone throughout. The reliefs here have a compelling directness to them. These carvings are the expressions of the most true perceptions of the artists. To an untrained eye, these sculptures might look a little plain. They have the minimal embellishments and almost no detailing. These panels on the wall portray various gods and goddesses. Higher up on the same walls are friezes depicting epic events like the marriage ceremony of Shiva and Parvati. These sculptures are totally bare with no decorations. But it is in these sculptures that you can sense the artist's primal cognition of Indian mythology. One of the most dramatic sculptures in Badami is that of the multi-armed icon of Shiva in a magnificent pose. The spreading arms of Shiva lend a majestic lyricity to the otherwise unembellished carving. The Shiva is awesome, yet one cannot ignore the adorable Bal Ganesha in the corner with all his childlike innocence. This innocence of Ganesha strikes a beautiful contrast to the vibrant dance of Shiva. This is another sculpture of Ganesha, the very Ganesha for which Badami is so famous. This is a very playful, happy Ganesha, a Ganesha that exudes complete innocence. This could perhaps be the most lucid portrayal of this elephant-headed deity, carved out of a simple stone. It is a sheer poem. Another very unusual Ganesha here at Badami is this one. It looks almost like it is scooped out of hard stone. This gives it an effect of Ganesha having just walked out of the stone, leaving behind his imprint. The effect is simply stunning. One of the interesting figural compositions is that of Vishnu on a coiled serpent. He rests on the serpentine body of the Vasuki. This in fact is a very unusual sculptural rendering of Vishnu. The very perspective used to sculpt this icon is simply bewildering. Aihole and Badami, with their simplistic rendition of artistic sculpture, mark the first phase of early Chalukyan architecture. Pattadakal, with its more mature art and architecture, is the climax of the early Chalukyan phase. The Pattadakal temples provide a striking illustration of the coexistence of different architectural traditions. The large scale of the architecture, the complex spatial treatments, and the rich ornamentation are the hallmarks of this phase. It is here that one can feel the difference in the quality of the construction. The sculptures are not bare, but show some decoration. One can sense that it is here that the stonemason has graduated from an amateur craftsman to an accomplished artist. At Pattadakal, there are some 10 temples. Studying the architecture here, you can feel the sophistication in the temples. The architect here shows a keen eye for decoration. This is evident from the ornate sculptures on the columns. Also, for the first time in the Chalukyan temples, you can see the decorative brackets joining two columns. The doorways and the mandapas here are the most ornate of the Pattadakal series. These are the Virupaksha and the Mallikarjun temples. These temples were erected by the two queens of Vikramaditya II to commemorate the victory of the Chalukyas over the Pallavas. The temples are dedicated to Lord Shiva. So predictably, there's a large image of Nandi. This Nandi here befits his master, the Lord Shiva. It has every bit of the animal strength, the animal power that harmonizes the vibrant untamed force of Shiva. The art and architecture of these cities exemplifies the truest expression of the artists. It embodies their struggle with their own selves for their search for the perfect creation. It is the expression of their direct response to their truest feelings. Perhaps those candid expressions coerce us to strike a dialogue with our inner forces. This is perhaps what draws us so strongly to these ruins.